So, I don't know about you guys, but before starting this speech course, I didn't know much about public speaking skills, but just from this first week and these readings and the first speech, even the intro speech, there's actually a lot more that goes into public speaking than I originally thought. There's a lot of skills and facets and different sides to it that need to be examined in order to kind of critique and kind of edit your argument to make you seem more effective when public speaking. So I really think this self-assessment is a good way to kind of like get a good idea of where everyone's coming from, and kind of where everybody's speech experience is at this point. So personally, my public speaking experience, I've had quite a bit actually. With my degree program, Homeland Security, we have a lot of research-oriented projects and a lot of group projects that we have to do throughout every semester. So usually with a class, we have this, assignments along the way, but we have this big group project that we research and create throughout the semester. And then at the end, we have to disseminate this information to a live audience. We have to give our research project in this big long presentation. And usually this takes the form of we have to design like fake emergency management plans for organizations, or kind of mock security plans for buildings. And so what we do is we design these as a group, and we have to disseminate all of this technical information to an audience that may or may not know that technical information. So there's kind of a difficulty there. You kind of have to articulate your words in a way that can work for all audiences. So like I said, my experience is mainly in a group setting. I've done individual presentations before, but mainly group presentations. My experience with public speaking has mainly been the traditional method. I haven't done this recording a video a lot or very often. It's mainly been in front of a live audience, which some might think is more nerve-wracking to present in front of an audience, but in my opinion, I think it actually takes more preparation to articulate your words for a video recording, because you have this option of re-recording yourself or kind of doing different takes, as a lot of us did in the intro presentation. So you kind of get in your own head and you're like, oh, did I say this right? Should I re-record this? So it can almost be more difficult at certain times. When I'm preparing for a presentation, what I first like to do is make sure I do extensive research on whatever topic it is. I want to make sure that I know the topic inside and out in case I'm approached about it later or after the presentation. I want to make sure I have that information down so I'm very convincing in my argument. So when I get up there and present, I have this very convincing argument to give to the audience. And probably one of the biggest ones, and one of the ones that was referenced in our first readings, is practice, practice, practice. That's probably what I do the most before any presentation, a group one or an individual one, is I practice. That means doing it in front of a mirror to myself. I time myself with a stopwatch, make sure I meet that minimum time requirement, and also make sure I'm not just dragging on. I'll record myself, watch it later. I'll have one of my roommates sit and watch me and time me and critique me on things I can do better. And another thing I do to prepare is make sure I have good sources and make sure that I know them to kind of back up my argument. You want to seem effective, and you want to make it seem like you did your research, so you're more convincing. You get the audience on your side. And in doing this, in knowing your topic inside out, in getting reputable sources, you're able to prepare yourself for the inevitable questions at the end of, usually a live audience, you'll have questions at the end, and you don't want to just get the presentation done and then get off the stage or get off in front of the audience. You need to know your stuff, so if you have questions, you can combat those. As for my public speaking anxiety, the level of it, I actually have quite a bit of it, especially mainly leading up to a presentation. I have a lot of nervousness pent up. I over practice sometimes. I kind of get in my own head, as I mentioned earlier. Oh, did I say this right? Did I go over this too much? And I kind of get in my own head, and it makes me really nervous. I get a lot of anxiety, especially all the way up until right before I stand up in front of the class. Then once I get up in front of an audience, weirdly enough, I'm fine. I can articulate myself very well. It's just the lead up to it that's makes me very anxious. My opinion on strong presentation skills are that they're good in any environment, any career field, any education environment. They're good. You need to be able to have skills to articulate yourself in any situation, any career field. And being comfortable with public speaking really makes you more effective and convincing just as a person. And also, a big one for me is just being able to explain myself through speech is much better than, explaining myself through a written medium. I'd rather give a 10-minute speech on a topic than write a 10-page paper any day, even though it's nerve-wracking. You're able to articulate yourself better. And with my hopes to go into the law enforcement field after graduation, this will also help. Public speaking skills definitely come into play there. You do investigative work, and you need to take that investigative information and you have to disseminate that to an audience that doesn't necessarily know the information. With that being said, I'm hoping that the rest of this course and the subsequent speeches or videos that follow will really help to better hone my public speaking skills to make me a better speaker and a more effective speaker in the future.